Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995 Studio A. And now onto the show.
This is my guess. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody last week had a happy Memorial Day. And here we are 1 week later, and I always introduce my guests as special because they're very special to me. This is Russ. Hi, it's been a while since you've been on my show. And we also have some very special guests in the audience, Dawn and Freddie.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. So today we have it's completely unprepared, as most of my shows are, but this is a very interesting topic today. It is on gratitude, so I am very grateful for my life and for everything that has happened to me. And also I will mention Steve, my husband. For people that know, he did have cancer, and he was told 2 weeks ago that he's 100% cancer free. So
Wow,
if you
that's a
have this,
blessing.
it is, yes.
That's a
So I just want to make a shout out to Steve if you're listening, and everybody is so delighted from out the news. And I believe the only thing they found wrong with you today is that you are a little anemic, so.
Terrific.
Yeah. So now on with the show, okay? The topic is gratitude, but this is a little out of the ordinary. I feel something strange happened to me the other day, and of course people that know me, strange things happen most of the time to me. But this was really strange. I'm going to get Dawn to set the scene a little bit because you were the reciprocant of what had happened, and maybe you could ask me some questions, and also Russ too, and perhaps Freddie, who knows a little bit about what happened. Now I've got everybody interested.
Well, you came to me this morning, you said, I have to tell you this crazy dream. And I said to you, well, Freddie had a very similar dream. And then you guys have been having this conversation, and you were having a dream about going down a hallway, and maybe you set it up, and then there was an energy at your doorway, but you had sleep paralysis.
Yes, actually, now I can answer it perhaps because because I don't really know exactly what happened to me. For people that know my show, they know that I have traveled, I have been abducted many times, and I have documented this, but this was a little different. I don't recall having had these dreams now for a little while, but this was Friday night. I went to sleep, and I was having this dream that I was in it was a room off a doorway where there were several different rooms. And I'm going to get to it in a second because people are saying, what are you talking about? Okay. And then suddenly I could hear somebody walking along. I could hear the clicking of their feet, their footsteps. And they entered my room. I can't tell you exactly what it was. It was like it was a shadow of some kind, but I was terrified in my dream, and I'm screaming, help me, help me. Steve, who it was still around about 12, my husband, who was still up, heard this, comes running into the bedroom and saying, waking me up, are you all right? However, I could not talk. So I know that this was some sort of sleep paralysis that I am very aware of. Okay, we'll go into that a little bit more in detail in a minute. I told you this dream that I'm screaming, help me, help me. You said to me, Freddie, if you don't mind,
Right,
that
then
you'd
Freddie
had a
told me
very similar dream the
That he
next
had a
day.
similar dream.
Yeah, but it wasn't a dream
No, it wasn't, but I'm using
because I was fully awake and I couldn't move
the same
and I
thing.
could breathe. But then there was a picture of me being lowered into a casket. And I could see the bedroom I was in. That's what scared me, is that I could see the bedroom. And then I got up because I was screaming, but I couldn't get the words out. It sounded like a child.
Exactly.
It was help me was the word. And she's trying to wake me up slowly. She should have just smacked me to wake me up, but she didn't do that. She did it slowly. And the more slower she did it, the more agonizing it was because I couldn't get back to where I was. So she started to shake me, and once she shook me, I got control of everything around
Oh,
me.
I left a detail out. I felt someone tugging at my pillow trying to wake me up. That was not Steve, though. I felt because I sit in, he didn't know what I was talking about. I'm just going, well, the same as you. But afterwards, he said to me, the pillow was exactly the same as you had gone to sleep on. So why I feel that we should bring this up, because I've had a lot of strange things happen, but this is absolutely up there because we had a very similar experience. Exactly the same.
Have you ever had this before?
Well, I've traveled a lot, but I've never been woken up in the middle of it. Because I was screaming, Steve came running into the bedroom to find out if I was all right. He probably thought I was having a stroke. He thought it was some health issue. I couldn't talk.
But did you ever have it happen to you before?
I've had many dreams where I've been there and I remember them because I have been abducted. And it's funny that it's not coincidence that you're on the show, Russ, and we talk about abductions. He believes that this was some sort of abduction. My friend Marita, and hello Marita, I'm sure you're listening, also felt the first thing she said to me, this was an abduction.
Of course it was.
But the strange thing is, we must be very connected because I have this Friday night and you have it Saturday night, the same exact thing.
This is the second time this has happened to me. The first time it happened to me, nobody woke me up.
Well, I was just going to say,
What
no one has
experience-
woken me
what
either.
happened? I'm just curious.
So what happened was I came to the realization because I know that Linda was, you know what's going on.
Right.
And I knew that nobody was waking me because I could not talk at all. That time I could not talk at all. So what I did was I took a deep bearing of myself and said, you got to get up. You got to get up. You got to get up. It took about 6 times. And on the 6 times, I jilted myself awake. But I thought it was the end the first time. It really scared me. This time, I never told Linda what happened. She
Well,
thinks
how
that
long-
I just
how
had a
long
bad
ago
night.
was that? When was
This
that?
was
about,
last week.
About
This-
the ballpark.
The first one
Yeah.
was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And this is the second time this has happened. And I got to tell you, it is really scary not being able to control your body. Now,
Okay.
your breathing is fine. There was nothing wrong. I was panicking
Uh-huh.
because I could not
Because
move.
we were both woken up, which is
Okay.
very strange because being woken up now, we both had exactly the same experience. But what I know about this, because I was going 3 times a week for nearly a year to different places, which I talked about, and you're aware of that too.
Right.
I know that we are paralyzed in our body. However, both you and I were able to scream. It was when I came back that I couldn't talk. So this was the question I had for you.
Yeah.
How was I able to communicate in that state by screaming? Because I happened to have someone in the house, which was Steve, and you happened to have Linda in your house. If you can't move, how are you able to scream that somebody else can hear you in the next room?
Have you seen the motion picture Communion?
No.
You need to watch that.
Okay.
You'll see the same thing in the Communion.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. And you can talk while you're
You
doing.
Look at that motion
Okay,
picture
we both had
Communion.
this.
But
You
then,
were abducted.
Russell, answer me this: why was I screaming for help and her? If it was anything else, why help?
Okay.
Help me.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true. We
Fine
both
thing.
said, help me.
Because
That's all my own
You were
words.
immobile, and you weren't in charge of your faculties, if you will. So you asking for help because you in the body, and you saying, I don't know what's going on. But if you watch Communion, I mean, really watch the motion picture, you'll see the same thing in that motion picture. Guaranteed. Now, take another step further. There's another motion picture called The Fourth Kind. And it was an actual picture that happened in Nome, Alaska. Watch that, and you see yourself. You see the people who were screaming, but they couldn't get out of the body. Watch
my
that
God.
carefully.
So why was it coincidence that I was woken
There's
up
no
by
co-
someone?
there's-
There is no coincidence.
There's no co-
Wrong
not-
word.
Not in the universe. No
But we were
coincidence.
both woken up at that same point, I
Yeah.
think, in our dream by somebody else.
Well, if you're screaming and somebody's in the house, I
Well,
can
that,
see them.
we
coming.
both
They break
luckily
down.
had someone in the
They
house.
probably think you're getting attacked.
People
But my,
Well, he thought I was, I don't know
my
what he thought.
contention, Russell, is how it starts and how it ends.
Right.
Was there a common bond that started this whole thing?
If you watch the motion pictures, without me trying to describe it, you'll see yourself.
But what
and
is the motion picture about?
people being abducted?
Okay, so that was what was happening to me
I
right
would say
there.
yes.
Now, there is no time clock, they tell me, when people get abducted. So
Yeah,
what may seem like a minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds could be days. Is that true?
At least it could be
Well,
days.
it can be,
If you-
yeah. I mean, I know a little
If you
about
look at
this.
another motion picture called Fire in the Sky with Travis Walton. Now, look at that picture carefully and watch what they go through and watch what he says when he came back. He was gone for 5 days. 5 days.
Okay.
How long was he motionless, sleeping?
He'll tell you about it in the motion picture.
I got you.
It's there.
And do
I
you
mean, look, it's like a documentary. Look, we can talk all day long, and you get pictures in your mind. But when you watch, a picture is what, worth 1,000 words?
Right.
When you watch the pictures, then you get a real clarity, if you will, about what was going on. That's very important for you to understand. Because, listen, it's going to happen time and time and time again. It's estimated that about 8 million people in the United States alone have been abducted. Now, can they remember everything? No. Some people can remember bits and pieces of it.
But what I find strange,
It's a whole movement going on now.
can I ask you this though?
Yeah.
I know now I was abducted many times during a period of a
Okay.
year.
Okay.
But why, my question, and maybe I can get an answer for this, that Freddie and I should have
Because
exactly within a day of each other
Because
the
the
same.
same forces that abduct you abducted him.
Okay.
But
Same
maybe
people.
Maybe a day apart.
Okay.
Probably. Now, you don't have to believe all this, but it's going to happen over and over again in people's lives. And you have this show, so when it happens to other people and they get, oh, come on, that's not true, I don't believe that, nothing you can do about that. But one of the things I'm going to say to you is that from now on, for the rest of the 2024, there are going to be a lot of people going through a lot of different experiences because this is the year of disclosure. They are coming. They're going to show themselves very soon. It's like going back and watching, if you will, the day the world stood still. If you remember that motion picture, 1950s, and remake of that. They're trying to tell you what's going on without you really reading about it or going to some hypnotherapist or somebody.
What if
Go ahead.
if you
Go ahead.
could, maybe Dawn could ask this for me. Since I am where I am, I'm somewhere else right now. For my viewers, and they know that, I seem to be able to answer more questions than I can as Sally. I'm Zena. If you could ask me something pertaining to this, because I believe there's more of a message that we're both, this is what I'm hearing. There is definitely a message that we should have both been woken up within 24 hours of each other, having a
Same
very
thing.
similar dream.
Hey,
I
yours
don't know,
was-
but I
Yours
feel,
was that you were being buried. You were
I don't
frozen,
remember.
and
I
there
was
walking down a hallway, and you remember them saying to you, "Don't stop." You said to them, "Don't stop here. Don't stop here."
all right.
Do you remember why you felt that?
No, because I was so terrified at that point because I actually heard the footsteps coming to the door. I was not in my bedroom because when Steve actually came in, where he was waking me and asking me this, I thought he was coming in through a window because where my door was a window in my so-called dream. So I don't know the purpose of that. I mean, we have a show. Both of us are sitting on this show at the Brooklyn Cafe. I think we have a message, but I don't know what it is.
What do you think, Russell?
Well, just look, just articulating the experiences that you two have been going through in the last, that's a message in itself because it's going to happen time and time again in all of our lives. It's going to be a different ballgame now. It's a year of disclosure. Have you been watching the television, listening to the news?
No, I'm
Have you been-
aware of this, absolutely.
They got the Pentagon studies
Yeah,
and all that?
but I don't know why well, let's see how the show goes, and maybe there'll be some answer to the question that maybe I have a message that I'm not aware of right now, other than disclosure.
Okay, call your higher angels.
Well, that's what I'm
well, ask
right.
them.
Thank
They
you.
would
Yeah.
know.
Then let me ask you this. Okay, so you go through this whole episode. Happened to me 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Is there an underlying message?
Well, my message, and I will always say this, anything is possible, and I do believe that. And I have had this particular experience without ever being woken up and never being scared. I had it for a year, many years ago. I was given messages to paint. I was given many things. I was given what was going to happen in the future. I accepted all that. But this is a little different to me because only because we both were so close to having this same, there is no time on the other side, and I know that, and you know that too. But we have an audience here, and this is going out on the airways. I feel that there's more to this. There's something that I'm meant to be
Well,
understanding.
here's what you've got going on your comments. Steve
Okay.
says, it took me about 2 to 3 minutes to bring you out of it. You were screaming, help me.
See, that's a long time. I
What do you
wasn't
mean
that.
it's a long time?
You know something? Now that we're talking about it, I don't know how long I was.
You don't know.
And
I
Marita
don't.
says, you
No.
are experiencing another fragment of you. We're becoming more aware of our true self. We are always in a dream, and we're becoming more aware. That's from Marita.
But
Okay,
that's a scary thought, because that means there's something I'm screaming about. Help me. If I'm learning
But the
something.
exact same words, Freddie. That's what, in my mind, nothing is really strange. I
When
understand
you both told
that.
me the same thing
Exactly,
today, I
exactly.
thought, that's just crazy.
And
Both your words were the same. Help me.
Exactly.
I don't think us having the same thing is crazy. I think both of us telling you it's crazy.
And I'm beginning to believe that we are both crazy, okay?
True.
And that, Russ, you should be in the studio here where we talk many times about abductions, right?
But, okay, it's estimated that 8 million people have been abducted. Now, they will go through the same experiences that you have gone through. And so for them to listen to what you've gone through, they won't be so frightened.
I understand that, but do you think that because we are able to talk to a large audience, we're both on the air here, that is there a message to tell
the message
people?
is that you're supposed to be giving your experiences. That's your
Okay,
message.
okay.
That it's real.
Okay,
Now, a lot of
it
people.
is.
Now, wait a minute. Let me ask you a question. Do you really? Let me ask Dawn. Dawn, let me ask you a question. Do you really believe, in your heart of hearts, that aliens made us and that they are visiting us on this planet? Do you really believe that?
I believe that they walk among us. I don't know if they made us, but I believe that they're here in a different capacity.
Okay, like what? What gives you that kind of notion,
The
if you will?
coincidences, I may call them angels, other people call them aliens. I just think there's a higher being.
Okay. Okay. So you got a feeling that there's something more than
Well,
just
this
us
studio
walking
for
around.
sure.
Huh?
And I know the way I even react to medications and different things and energy and vibrations. I went to a holistic healer over the weekend, and some of the supplements she gave me, I had to tap them before I can even take them, because it has to tap into my energy
Right.
to get the full effect.
Okay.
Even if it's the same bottle, it would be different for each
Of
of you.
course.
So I believe in energy frequencies, and that's the non-human side of what we do.
Yeah, but most people haven't been taught that in grade
know.
school and college and university.
They haven't been taught it.
They haven't, but we.
So let me ask you a question again. Freddie? Do you really believe the other entities in the universe visiting us? Do you really believe in your heart of hearts?
I do.
You do.
I do. But there are times that some of the things that man or women tell me just are not logical enough
Okay.
for me to comprehend that. And then I get hit in the face with this strange behavior.
Right.
because it's.
And I got to sit down. I'm going to tell you, I sat down all day Sunday trying to figure out. I didn't even tell Linda.
Okay.
Unless Linda watches this show, she won't know what happened to me Saturday, because
Okay.
I refuse to talk about it.
And I've had the same thing, but I did mention to Steve because he's aware of some of my experiences, but I can't get it out of my mind. Even today.
Well, I don't know
reliving it
how to
again.
start a conversation like this. I didn't even want to talk about
Well,
it
she
on
saw
the air.
you, the same as Steve saw me. So we had witnesses.
She thinks it was a nightmare. This was
Well,
not
that's
a
what
nightmare.
Okay.
Steve
okay.
thought too. It's the
Okay.
same thing. Can you see the coincidences in this? Isn't this strange?
I cannot.
But isn't it strange that we
Yes.
both did this?
No, I don't want to think about strange like that.
I think it's amazing. But, however, this has not left me. So I feel that there's a message. I still know exactly what I saw.
Can I tell you the rest of my craziness?
Sure.
Right.
All right. So when I came out on Sunday, I came to the conclusion that it was my parents and my brother were trying to talk to me for whatever reason. Maybe I'm going to visit them. Who knows? And I ended up on a website buying 3 lanterns. You know, lanterns that have candles in them. But these are big. One is 26 inches, 19 inches, and 6 inches. And I was told to buy these candles, these lanterns. And I bought them. They'll be here tomorrow. Don't know why.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm getting
So-
more of a message now because I want to use this little bit of time maybe because I can tap into my guides here who can tell me. I feel that we were meant to definitely, because I believe you know that what happened to me when I was in Baltimore. I had a dream, and Steve is very aware too of what happened. Every part of that dream came about. I believe we're meant to pass this on. We don't necessarily have to understand it, but the coincidence, so-called coincidence, happened. It was strange. But what really shed light on this is that the same thing happened to you and I within 24 hours of each other. We might have just said, okay, and I could say, yeah, I've had experiences like that before, and written it off. But I believe that this is a really, really important message to let people know. Whether they believe it or not, that's okay. But we both had witnesses to what happened. You had Linda and I
What
had
is it
Steve.
that I'm trying to...
I'm trying to figure out.
I can't even figure it out.
No,
Listen,
but hopefully
but
with
just
with
the
my
mere
with
fact
my
that you brought it up on television,
Right.
and you brought it up.
That wasn't me either.
Okay.
But if I had not
Okay.
told Dawn, who
But
understood this,
it
I
was-
should not
that's the
have
point,
told
that we
Dawn
both-
anything.
But you told her what had happened. How did you feel, Dawn, when I'm telling you I had a so-called dream or a lucid dream? I'm giving you the same information that Freddie had just
Well,
told
here's the
you.
crazy thing, is last night I had this crazy dream
No, you
about
didn't have
not
it.
forgetting something on a tablet. And it woke me up, and I'm like, I'm not going to forget it, I'm not going to forget it. It was about you putting something on a tablet, and I don't remember what it was. And it woke me up at 5:45, and then you tell me your crazy dream, and you tell me your dream, and I'm like, the three of us are having these bizarre dreams this weekend over energies and tablets and writing things down. And here we go.
And a week before, prior to that, which I won't go through the whole scenario again, on my show what happened to me in Baltimore. My dream, every aspect of my dream came true at the airport. I'm with Steve. I won't go into the whole story, but even the detail of the purse I was carrying, I had seen in my dream 1 week before. So they're really, I hate to tell you this, Freddie, but they're really walking with us.
Well, I'm going
right
to give you another one. There's a guy in here right now. I won't even name any names. Just look at him. And I've asked him questions in the past about he was told. And when I ask him, well, tell me more, he says that's not important.
Well, he's more.
So if there's anybody in here who's done this more than all of us combined, it's been him.
You have not been on my show for a while.
Okay.
Okay. Well, no, I'm not criticizing
No,
that.
no,
That's
okay,
fine.
okay.
But there is a reason, Russ, that you're sitting here right now. Do you
There's
see
no
that
accidents
too?
in the
No
universe.
accidents.
So are you going to elaborate, or do I still get that?
No.
No?
1, 2, 3 have had some experiences in the dream world. You were supposed to tell the audience, as you are now, that it's not unusual, it's nothing strange, and they're not crazy out there.
No.
You need to pass that message on as an example of what will happen in their lives
And that's what you've done?
in 2024.
That's what you've done? Every time you told me don't worry about it, that's
It's
what you were
very
doing?
secretive. But even how we met.
Interesting.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is.
I mean,
this
look,
studio
look,
is
look,
magical.
look.
Okay.
I've been
It's
watching, some social media, watching the
I
media.
know you send them to me.
Okay, fine.
I've been watching them too.
Okay. Would you agree that in this year it's ever increasing in numbers? The congressional hearings with David Grush, if you will. There's other congressional hearings will be coming up very shortly, and people are really out there. More podcasts. Have you ever checked out how many podcasts are dealing with this subject matter? The phenomena, the UFOs, UAPs?
It's true. The
It's growing
increase
by
is growing.
leaps and bounds.
Since we have a forum
It's
here,
expanding. It's exploding.
what is important, and I don't want, but it's on your subject. Can viewers that have
because-
had something similar, just so that we are out on the airways right now, maybe someone could call in
Sure.
to say that they've had something similar. I know that this is possible because I've had it, but I never have been woken up.
Well,
so-
as a matter of fact, I think you have a phone caller.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to take the phone call? Okay, bring it on, please.
Hi.
Yes,
News
caller, are you
about your
there?
husband. Great.
Hello.
Yeah, Sally. Hi.
Hi, Pete.
Peter answers for you.
I know your voice. Yes, please give us an
Thank you
answer
very
because
much.
we're
I know your voice.
mystified.
there. All right.
speak up a
Here's
little
what's
louder?
really going on.
Can you talk a little louder?
The experience that all three of you had is a form of time travel. It's a microism in time travel. And the experience that you all had either came from one of two places or two of two places. Either abductions were happening to all three of you at the same time, unbeknownst to you, and abductions sometimes carry on surgeries by extraterrestrials or spirits, and they inject certain fluids into your body for your bodies to react, and most of the bodies go dead. They go into that freezing motion. And that's for the purpose of them extracting out certain chemicals out of your body to be used in different realms and other planets and other extraterrestrial beings. The reason why Freddie was talking about the muscles of the voice being able to yell out, or you being able to yell out, is because the vocal cord muscles are the only muscles in the body that are close enough to your extremist muscles outside your neck that you can control. You can't control your lung and heart muscles to a very large extent. So that's why you've all been able to yell and scream. Now, the other side of this was there was no abduction of extraterrestrials on all of you at all, and the poisonous chemicals that are in all of us now made you guys freeze up. And you literally had to talk yourself out of this inside sleepiness or inside your own life. Does all of this make any sense to you guys?
Well, thank you. That was really informative. It does a little to me.
Well, it makes sense, but the question still stands. Why is it that, why did it happen?
Yes, why did it happen?
What is the end game here? Was it experiments? What's the end game?
The end game is, first of all three of you guys are as close, emotionally close as all hell. So it all happened to you in the same period of 26. It could have happened even quicker in the realm of extraterrestrial abandonment or abduction and in poisoning all three of you because we're all being poisoned. So it all happened to all of you just about at the same time, but tied into the fact you guys are so close, it's off the charts. It's great that you're all emotionally close, but you're so close, all these things are bound to happen to you guys at the same time. That's why.
That was proof.
Then I have a question. I got a question. I met Sally, what's it been, 2 years now?
About 2 years. Yeah.
And I met Dawn about, 12 years now? And Russ I met 11 years ago. 10, 11?
Something like that, yeah.
So these are the only people that I can honestly say have anything to do with this point in my life right now. Plus the others that have come after. So the first one that I met was Russell. So is Russell a message for me?
Yes. And you guys are all boomeranging around each other in messages. It's like you guys are a universe all of yourself, and you guys are like a heaven of yourself outside of heaven, whatever heaven really is. When I was inside that studio watching you guys, it's almost as if you all came out of the same womb.
Wow.
Seriously. That's good. But that's how close you all are. Does that make sense?
This is very interesting. I really appreciate you calling in on this.
Part of what he's saying, too, is that before you're born to come through the birth canal, you have decided that you were going to come at this time, the year 2024. You're going to be part of the disclosure movement. You made that decision before you were born. You made the decision that you were born into the particular family that you were born into. That was your decision to be here at this time. Now, the other piece of it, and I guess he can confirm, is that on the other side, there are groups of people who come at the same time and come together to deliver whatever message that they want to give. So you don't have to say, it's not the singularity deal. You can say, as a group, let's go down and be born at the same time to give the message
I
to the
totally
world.
agree with that.
Right.
Pete, are you still there? Pete?
I'm still here. I'm listening to you guys.
Okay. I know that
hello.
we have a very similar idea of you have the same idea of what we're talking about, which I believe is absolutely, in my mind, what happened. So I believe that he is also part of this scenario that he could call in. Do you feel that at all, Pete?
Yeah, every time I call into you, the same things that are happening with you guys are happening with me too.
That's
Right.
what I wanted
Wow.
to know.
And it
right.
happened with a lot of people who are not
So-
calling in.
Yeah, but
who are
he
just
happens.
listening.
He's been in the studio and is a friend of mine.
Oh, I
so
see, I see.
I know
Well,
him.
people should call in. I think the
Yeah.
point that Russell was talking about is you should call in, and we want to hear your story. I agree 100% the way Pete did.
But, you got to recognize, too, even though this is the year of disclosure, 2024, for most people, that up to this point in time, when people came forward about all these abductions, all these strange happenings, the paranormal, if you will, they were afraid to come forth because they would be criticized and dismissed, calling a fool, you nutcase, we're going to put you in Section 8 or whatever. People were afraid to up until this point. But now the window is opening where they can come forward now when things like this happens to them. And they're part of the people who want to be of the people who want to help with the disclosure and share the information that they know and that they were born to disseminate to the world.
Can I just explain what
You
I
understand
feel
you-
is
I mean,
coming
does
in
that
is
make
to
sense
do
to
with what
you?
you're talking about,
Yeah, go ahead.
actually, is that each one of you, I have been in this cafe. Pete, you called in and have been into the cafe, correct? You're here. I meet you at the cafe.
Correct.
Here's Freddie and Dawn sitting here. I meet you at a cafe that I didn't. I mean, I knew a few years prior to that, but I didn't come in. So my timing in coming in here has worked out that we get. Are we surprised this both happened at the same time? I don't think so. I think this was.
I don't think I'm surprised that it happened at the same time.
I mean, I was until
If
now.
it happened to all four of us and with Pete 5, then I'd probably be scratching my head says, okay, what the hell's going on
Pete,
here?
are you there? Did you have anything happen to you Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? Well, I shouldn't ask you that. because I
Yeah,
know you had
something
things all
weird.
the-
Yeah, well, something weird, and I need to ask you, Sally.
Okay.
Usually, when I'm thinking out loud, I'm talking out loud. Things show up on my telephone or my cell phone or
Right.
the commercial. Now, when I'm just thinking and not talking out loud, things are showing up on TV and on my cell phone. What do you think?
I think that we're all connected, whether we like it or not.
There's always a connection.
There's
I mean,
a
it's
connection,
no accident-
absolutely.
No accidents in the
So
universe.
if you
No
hear of
accident.
anything, and I know, come into the studio again because you're welcome here. But we're understanding this, and it's good because we're able to get this message out to people that might be sitting listening to this show, if not now, but later on in the recording, that can relate to something that we're saying. So I believe that this all should be out in the open, right?
Well, there's an organization called MUFON.
Exactly.
Thank you, Pete.
And yeah, thank you very much, Sally. Thanks for giving me your answer too. You're the perfect person.
You're welcome. Thank you. You're my number one fan.
You want to take a commercial
Thank you.
break?
You're my number one person too, and you'll see me back in that studio as soon as I get time off from work.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pete. Have an enjoyable rest of the day. Okay,
You
so
need to bring to the table
Stay
a
safe, guys.
hypnotherapist so they can help.
Stay
come.
safe, guys.
People
thank you,
can
and you
talk
too.
about people who
Yeah,
have been-
definitely. We
Yeah.
can
Take a
encourage
commercial
more.
break?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Want
We're-
to come on the other side of this commercial break? Give us a call, 888-994-4995, Studio A, or write in.
thank
A
you.
true story,
See?
Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
my story starts at 4 or 5 years old. My name is Sally Barnard, and I was born at the end of the Second World War, in the middle of an air raid siren going off. My parents were in a movie theater, and my mother went into labor. My father ran out of the movie theater, but there was no cabs to be available because everybody is running for cover. However, they found one, and the taxi driver was given the address to take my father and my mother to the hospital. As my mother was in labor, about a half an hour, I arrived at exactly midnight. I think I was fed messages at a very early age. My parents used to like to play cards, and they had a card game every Wednesday or Thursday night at home when I was a baby. And I actually said to them one day, "Why do you keep waking me up at night? The card game is waking me up, and I can't get back to sleep so quickly." And they looked at each other and they said, "We're not really waking her up." They were quite away from my bedroom. And they called in a psychic to say, "What in the world is going on?" And the psychic said that I'm getting many messages that are waking me up at night. I thought whatever I was experiencing, other people were experiencing too. You don't know until you realize that you are different. Many things were happening to me, things that were unexplainable to me. What I had dreamt was happening. I could sense many things, and the things that I was sensing were coming about, but something was going on. I will explain to you everything. You're ready.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book and artwork by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Now back to the show.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. We're all having a very interesting discussion during the commercials. And I always believe, and I just want to say to my audience, that I honestly do believe that anything is possible. If you believe that it's possible, things will happen. And you were talking, Russ, a little bit about, before we come into what I would call the illusion, but that's another story, about how we discuss where we're going to be, who we're going to meet.
True.
It doesn't always work out. However, I have found, because once you begin to believe this, and I had no idea I was going to talk about this, but I feel that it's very important, that once you begin to understand just a little bit, you begin your journey. That's when, if you keep an open mind, you will meet, as we have all met here in the studio, people that have similar belief systems. Marita, if you're listening, well, I know you're listening. I met Marita, my friend who just wrote in, about 30 years ago, and our story alone is amazing, but I was just beginning to understand what was happening. So we're all in the right places. We just have to recognize that we're in the right places to meet these people. So maybe with the opening of that, we can talk more a little bit about how we...
Have you ever discussed Neil on your show?
Have I ever
Neil?
No, I don't.
You
I
don't?
have not heard from him in a couple of months, so
don't
I
want-
just yes, because I don't know where he is at the moment. So,
But you don't want to talk about him?
well, that's another idea of somebody called Neil. You don't have to know who Neil is. That's okay. But someone that came into my life many, many years ago, where before I even understood all this, and that had kept in my life through various situations, on and off. Maybe years had gone by, that understood a lot of what I'm talking about today. However, I met this Neil, without giving his last name, when I was quite young, well, not young, but I was in my 30s, I believe, or 35. I didn't know I knew all this.
Okay.
So he was probably, and it's not coincidence maybe that you mentioned that, one of the first people that I met in my life that understood and was advanced, but I didn't know it. But I continued with my journey, and he has shown up periodically in my life many times since then. There are reasons. I believe we get people here to guide us on our journey.
Okay.
My mind was opened when I started to astral project, which is very similar to what we're talking about now. But my messages were not of the message that I got the other night. They were to tell me that I could paint, to introduce me to many people that were, I guess, my guides, and not guess, I know they were my guides. They introduced me through my astral. We all have an astral body, and I understand all this. And I know that we all go to that place. We don't always remember. But what we were discussing, we won't go into it again, is a little different, because because I shared that with someone, I think that was where it became different. But anybody else that feels that they want to know a little bit more, I'll do my best to answer, as you will, as Freddie or Dawn even will answer. Not even, she understands a lot, but she's a little quiet over there. But that's okay.
Facebook keeps logging me out, and I keep trying to get in to do something with your show, and it's logged me out 4 times. But
Oh dear. Okay.
so I'm trying.
Okay. No, I'm
trying
not
to
criticizing that, but
I'm listening. I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But I
all the
believe I gave you
similarities.
some nice messages about your daughter without going into details about it the other day.
There was something going on with my daughter, and I asked you, and you told me some things that seemed totally random and made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a situation this weekend, and it made total sense. And I told her, Sally said, not one thing, but 2. And she was like, wow. Because some of your messages are just random. It's not that says, oh, you're at a crossroads or something's going to happen. You're going to change your hair color. It's not like a generic message.
Right.
This was a strange, bizarre, specific message, and
It
both
was.
of them were 100% on point.
Yeah, and I love to hear the feedback because I can give messages, especially even over the air to someone, and I'm not sure of the outcome. But I'm very happy that you were able to tell me that because I get messages and I will relay them on, but do I understand completely how I'm able to do that? No, not necessarily. But I am accurate in a lot of these, and I'm hoping that it helps people. So thank you hi, if you're listening, but she probably isn't. She's busy.
I always tell her, she said, Sally said, I said, you can call Sally.
Yeah, anytime, tell her to call me.
So all of these experiences, I don't think we're ever taught, Russ, back to your point, that other beings exist, right? Even we're not going to read it in a textbook because people have to, I can't say see it to believe it because I don't see other things. Well, sometimes I do, but feel it to believe it. And I think part of it is experiential of what you feel and what we've learned, right? Everything in life is experience-based.
Well, speaking of experience, there's a guy that Bashar.
Oh my God, I have been listening. Marita, she's going to write in, please. She sends me every single day nearly on Bashar to listen to him.
Okay.
Okay. Marita, if you're there.
Okay, all right. Now, he talks about the people who are waiting for clarity or some experiences. He's saying by 2028, somewhere around in there, that the aliens are going to do like they did in the day the world stood still. They're going to show up on the White House lawn. They're going to show up on the lawns of the presidents of the world and show themselves. It won't be. Now, I talked to another fellow earlier today. He said he didn't think it was going to be that soon, but certainly they're going to do that.
And I can't believe it because the only thing I've been listening recently on YouTube, I asked for Bashar. And it's like it's and Marita too, because she sends me the ones
Certainly.
to listen to.
Certainly.
So that's not coincidence
You got a
either.
question over there.
Okay.
Hi, Sally.
I knew, I was just going to ask you, do you have a question? I knew you did. I
Yes,
don't know what the
ma'am.
Let me
question
follow
is.
up on that. Let me just do this.
Bashar?
The Bashar is, you can pull up Daryl Anchor.
Yes, that's who he is.
Right, and so
He channels him.
he's been channeling Bashar for 40 years, so go ahead, go right ahead.
That doesn't that's incredible. But Marita will
Yeah, I
know what we're
want to
talking
give you
about.
that
Yeah.
information, yeah. Go ahead.
Hi, Sally.
Hi.
I was wondering what my guides have to say for me for this week.
Okay. And I am familiar with you guys, as you know, we talked. Not a lot. They're asking you, it's kind of status quo right now. Things are moving along, but it's up to you right now, and the fact that you asked me this, to make what you feel happen now. You might be thinking, well, I'm going to leave that and put it on, they're telling me, on the back burner for a little while. No, the time is now. They're telling you now, okay? Go ahead with what you are planning. And don't necessarily have, because only this is for you, okay? Don't put it on the back burner any longer. Now is the time to do and go ahead with what you were talking about. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, so follow, I mean, you don't have to do anything, but my advice is to follow what, because they are watching you and listening to you.
Okay.
And they know what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Here's a big question. Since this is the year of disclosure, and there have been congressional hearings, so it makes it a little more
Right.
acceptable to a lot of people, what would you tell people to do in terms of the get ready for the inevitable that maybe entities from other parts of the galaxies will be here to talk with us.
Okay, and that's a really interesting question,
Of
and
course.
probably a difficult one in some ways to answer.
Okay.
Because not everyone is going to believe what I'm saying, and I completely understand that.
understand that.
I totally believe that we're getting close to disclosure, but I think they're going to do it, which we've heard, like they call a soft disclosure. So whatever will happen, they're going to put little bits, which is already happening actually in the news on, quote, the news that we listen to, not necessarily on maybe shows like mine or other places where we do talk about it. I would tell people to basically keep an open mind. Just know you don't even have to believe it, but you don't want to be scared, because they do want to show themselves to us, but they'll only, I believe they're good. A lot of people say, no, they're not. Well, there are different types, we know that there are different aliens around, but the ones that are going to disclose themselves to us in the not too different, in the distant future here, are good. So whatever you may see, it's hard for me to actually explain this. Just keep an open mind. Believe that this is going to happen, but they don't want to scare us, just like we don't want to be scared. So there's a mutual agreement with not all of them, when we know that, but the majority of the ones that are going to disclose themselves want to help us. They already are. Since you mentioned this, I'm hearing technology. They've helped us many times. We are accelerating tremendously. So if people want to maybe understand this a little more, how far have we come in 15 years with technology? Have we done that without help? It's hard to, yes, we've had amazing scientists, but I believe we're getting messages. That's how we've been able to advance as much as we have, and we'll continue. So they're saying to themselves, and of course I have no proof, it's just what I'm talking about. Let's do this, but let's do a soft disclosure. They're working with us, Russ, as you know, to do this in a time that it's going to be a little bit more easier to understand. Well, more people have an open mind today on many things that have happened through history. They're questioning many things that we've been taught. So they need to open our minds a little bit more, which they are doing.
Right.
Oh,
I would
these
suggest, too,
aliens.
that they look at a book called The Day After Roswell by Colonel Corso, S-O-C-O-R-S-O.
Right.
And that's an audio. And
So
it's a book.
What you're saying is good. People need to do more reading.
got
Absolutely.
to
And I know
do
you
your
bring this up
homework.
many times for us.
I mean, we can't stay like a turnip in the
So they
dark.
get it. Yes, my show is only going to go so far, but they need to put it and read, and I understand that too. Yes.
Yeah, beyond the show, they needed to start doing some homework.
Absolutely. So your answer to that would be to do their own
Of course,
research,
doing your own
right?
research. Look at
Right.
Gaia. Look at cosmic
Right,
connections, ancient
right.
aliens. I mean, I
Thank
could
you.
go on and on.
Thank you.
You got one called by Linda Mutant Howell, who's
Right.
been researching this since
Yes, yeah.
1979.
Yes.
And she disclosed that.
But years
the
ago,
cattle
I think
mutilations.
most of our minds were more closed than they are
No, but you
today.
got to open
so-
it now.
Well, we are, and that's what we're doing here. But
Okay,
I believe
fine.
that more people are opening their minds to this today.
Right, okay.
I mean, even I only know that much, but I'm trying to get out what I do know. And the fact that Freddie and I both had this very similar experience is to show you and to mention on the air what can happen to us, not to be afraid. I was a little scared, and that's the first time ever. I don't seem to have too much fear, but I wondered what was happening to me. So just go with it, okay, and follow this and read. As Russ, and I know every time you come on my show, you give people the audience literature to read, which is very helpful.
Well, we have to do our homework.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And watch the other motion pictures that'll get, like for instance, let's take E.T. By whom? Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
Would you believe he's done at least 15 movies on aliens in his lifetime?
Sure, but
Maybe
all his
20?
movies have a message.
Okay, fine. So you think that's by mistake?
I don't think it's by mistake. I think that he's been told and he's sophisticated enough to understand what that message is.
Right.
Some of us are not that sophisticated, and we
Well,
can't do some of the things.
So he can put it in a motion picture where you can accept it a little bit better, if you will.
Well, you have to understand what the hell you're looking at. You know,
No,
when
but-
I'm laying there trying to figure out why I can't move, it's kind of a little bit.
It's scary.
But
It's more than scary. It's concerning. Is there something physically or mentally wrong with me?
But I do want to say, since we have talked about this, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but anybody that had this experience, in my mind, it is not, people might say if you go to a doctor that they want to do all these tests on you. I think it's coming from somewhere else. I don't believe that you're sick, or I may be sick, but not, I believe that this is not, it's coming from a different place. And for anybody that might be listening to this show that's had a similar experience, a doctor who may not, and doctors definitely listen to your doctors, I'm not saying that, they don't always know what I'm going to say, more of a spiritual side to this. Neurological, people might think there's something going on. If you look it up, they're going to say that. I've had this for 18, 19 years. I've never had an episode like I had with sharing it with someone and somebody waking me up. I'm still here, and I don't have, as far as I know, anything I can't even say the word, neurological wrong with me. So don't be worried about that.
Well, I'm just saying that in order to learn something, sometimes you have to sort of accept it, and sometimes you have to question, why me? And sometimes you have to question, what am I supposed to do with this? Am I supposed to have a conversation with G and tell him, listen, this happened to me? He's going to look at me and says, well, there's something absolutely wrong with you.
Right. But I think to be on the air and have the privilege of being on the air is you have a responsibility to share as much information with the public as possible so that they can become aware, cognizant of changes that are coming to this universe, to this planet.
Well, I'm going to give you another example.
Right.
My dad, may he rest in peace, had blood clots in his lungs and across the saddle of his lungs. There were so many blood clots you couldn't see the lung tissue. And they asked me how in the world my father was alive. He should have died 12 years ago with the amount of damage that they saw. And he lived another 8 years after. And my father would still be alive if he didn't get a hernia, and the doctors in Puerto Rico took him off the medication that the doctors here in Boca told him do not take him off this medication because the blood clots should have killed him. Now, before I took my father to the doctor, to the hospital for something unrelated to this, he was fine. He breathed fine, everything. It was an x-ray that was taken that then they came in and they did this whole workup on him, and they still to today do not have an answer why those blood clots, not one of them, went in his heart or in his head to kill him instantly. Now, why? They don't have an answer. Nobody has. They have people fly in from California to put my father in the medical books. And he said no because he was afraid that if you did something to him, it would kill him. So his doctor finally told everybody, you know what? We're going to leave this man alone. We don't know why. And he's gone down as a medical mystery.
Right.
So is it that kind of information? It came from somewhere, Russell. He walked among us like a human being.
Well, that's good information because people go through those kind of procedures, those experiences. They beyond what the average allopathic doctor will say, physician, if you will. It's something bigger in the universe. And you can, if you listen to Sky Prince, S-K-Y-E Prince, she talks about the med bed. She's been in the Secret Space Force, and she's been traveling from planet to planet to planet. But people say, oh, that's all crap. They don't believe that. But punch her up and listen to what she has to say.
And I was just explaining the med bed the other day to someone.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, actually
Yeah.
it was to Steve, if you're still listening.
2 minutes.
There we go. See, he mentioned the med bed. That's not coincidence.
I'm going to knock one even really weird to you. When I was a kid, the Jetsons had space cars.
Right.
And I thought they were crazy.
Right.
And now we have space cars that
Absolutely.
fly.
That's right, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 1 minute, honey.
Yep, that's right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening.
Marita
See you.
says, no one leaves before their time. She's had wonderful experiences.
And I'm a friend of Marita's, and she certainly has. Thank you, Marita. You have. I'm happy to be your friend.
What a show, Sally
Thank
and
you.
Russ. And
Thank
Russ
you.
just always comes in the right time.
What perfect opportunity for
Right?
him to be my guest on my show, because you had no idea this. You certainly didn't
I
wake
think
up this
Talking
morning
Freddie was a
thinking we both
podcast.
had the same experience.
No,
Wow.
it's been a day like
And
that
isn't
today.
it weird that he shows up today?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. It's strange, isn't it?
think it
Oh,
was
my
him.
voice.
Oh, you think it was?
Okay. Are we still on the air?
I guess
or-
we're gonna wrap it up.
Bye-bye, everybody. See you this time next week. You never know what's going to happen on this show. We've had an eclipse. We had a fire breakout. And now it's all good. The rest is, well, the eclipse was good. Okay. So see you this time next week.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.